Hello, everyone. Okay, just gonna wait. I say this every time, but I'm gonna wait a little bit, just till people get on, and then we'll start. I'll just awkwardly dance and wait. If you'd like to turn to whenever, because I know, that's 3 people. Hi, Donna. Okay, sometimes it'll show me people and sometimes it doesn't. So if I don't say your name, it's just because it's not showing me you're on there. Oh, hi, Mary. I see you. Okay, so today, hi, Scott. Hi, Ruth. Hi, Peggy. Okay, great. Hello, Mr. Pastor Rick. Okay, so if you'd like to turn, you don't have to, but I'm going to be sharing in John 15. I started last week, and I thought I was going to get a lot farther along this week in it, but I don't think I will, which is really cool because the Lord really spoke to me today about specifically what to talk about, so I'm really excited. But I'm going to be talking in John 15:9 to probably 14. Hi, Judy. But I'm going to get started because there's people on here, which is super exciting. But okay, so like I said, John 15:9 through probably 14 we'll probably get to. And this is, John 15 is probably a verse or chapter in the Bible that I have read probably more than 50 times, probably more than that. I read this chapter a lot. It's something that I really go back to a lot of times in my faith. And something that I read today, and I was reading through it because I knew I was going to speak on this, and I was just kind of getting all my notes ready. I already thought I knew what I was going to speak on, and then when I read this certain verse, it just highlighted it, which is amazing because that's the Holy Spirit's like speaking to me. It feels like it. And so it was really cool. Hi, Sharon. So it was really cool because I never read that verse or remember that verse when I would read it. And when I was reading, I was like, oh man. And then I started just writing all this stuff about it, and just feels very prevalent that this is what I'm supposed to share tonight. So I'm going to start reading it, but it's going to start in John 9. It says, last week I talked through John 15:1 through 8, and that was, I am the vine and you are the branches. And if you weren't able to listen to that one, it is on today's Harvest page on Facebook. So I was kind of going through that. So it continues. So Jesus is still speaking. And so he says in verse 9, as the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Now remain in my love. If you keep my commands, you will remain in my love, just as I kept my Father's commands and remain in his love. I have told you this, and this is the verse I'm going to talk about a lot. I have told you this so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete. My command is this: love each other as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friend. You are my friends if you do what I command. And so I'm going to share a lot about joy tonight. And it was something that when I was reading it, I just never, for some reason, really picked up on that before. And I just love how it says it. And this is the New Living Translation when I was reading it. And I just love how it says, then your joy will be complete through Jesus. And so I just think that's really cool. And talking about joy and how our joy is complete with Jesus and what that really means to be complete in that. And in the Passion Translation, it says this, which is verse 11. It says, my purpose for telling you these things is so that joy that I experience will fill your hearts with overflowing gladness. And what really is showing us is that Jesus, hi Sharon, that Jesus was joyful, that he wasn't, I think a lot of times, and a lot of different movies or stuff is kind of breaking down this barrier of how we see Jesus, but for me, what I pictured Jesus growing up was very solemn and very, peace and just stone face kind of thing. And this just shows us that he was joyful, that he was joyful, and what that means to be joyful, and that he wants us to be. It's not just that he was, but he specifically says how, that he wants us to experience this joy to be felt. Hi, Pam. And so I love that's what Jesus wants for us. And I probably tear up a little bit, but I was thinking about it today of, especially for keeping his commands, which is love one another and love your God, is what he's talking about. And how Jesus lived his life, and I started thinking about it of, I can't imagine knowing how your life was going to end, where he knew that dying on the cross, he knew what his purpose was in this world. And I was thinking about it, was like, if I knew that, like, if I knew, like, in 3 years time or whatever, that I was going to die on the cross, you know what I mean? Like, would I be as joyful as he was? But he says it where, greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. And that was his perspective, which is really sad, to lay down your life for someone. Seems very, sad or very, like, sacrificial, but he's talking about, it brings joy. And how with Jesus, when he, I was just thinking about it for myself, that would I be as joyful if I knew that about my life? And it just shows us that Jesus wasn't looking at the natural, but he was looking at the supernatural. And he knew that there was going to be, even though it was going to be painful, what it was going to bring for all of us. And how that was, it is a joyful thing to think of what Jesus has done for us on the cross. I told you I'd probably tear up, but I think it's just such a beautiful look on joy, that I think a lot of times we think that we have to be joyful in really good times in our lives, and things that are, hi Jackie, things that are super, good times, then joy should be brought in. But a lot of times it's in really hard times, and it's in desperate times, and it's times of sadness and sorrow that joy is brought in, and joy is there. And a lot of times it's when we love people and we love God. And I was just talking to my husband about this today. I was like, we were talking about people that we knew in our lives, people at the church, people that we've met around the world, that are the most joyful people that we know, but they are ones that love people and love God. Like, you can just, everything that they say, you can tell that they really love God, and how they talk about God, how they talk about people, and the love that they have for people, and joy just comes over them. And the thing is, but you could also see it when people are, and this is even in my life, so I'm not like pointing anything out, but I can tell if I'm, complaining about people or upset, or, even just my relationship with God that's rocky and different things, I'm not as joyful. So it really is important to be both of those things. I'm kind of getting off track. But one thing that when I was writing down for this is, when we keep the commandments close to our heart, joy follows. So just keeping it close to our heart doesn't mean that we do it perfectly. But what does it mean to love your God and love people? What does that mean to you? And how, when you do those things, there's just a joy that follows that. And even just in the, I can't think of the verse right now, but there's a verse that talks about the joy of the Lord is my strength. And how true that is that it's joy that, the joy of the Lord is our strength. And I always think that joy is just like a silly one, if you know what I mean. Like there's like, peace is really important, patience is really important to have, love is very, very important, like kind of more serious. And I think more with joy, it's like la, 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 like just kind of, it doesn't seem as important, but it is. It says it, that the joy of the Lord is our strength. And so it is so important. And joy is not a feel-good emotion, but a weapon from the Lord. And I really do believe that. I think when we can see circumstances or things that are going on in our lives, really, I think just, for me, I think my prayer is, okay, Lord, from now on, is okay, Lord, that even in these times, how can I use your joy to be my strength? What does that look like? And how can I have this application in my life? Because I want to bring joy into the world, and I want to, I don't know, just people to see it. And so I think that's pretty much all. The last thing is just let joy lead you. Yeah, I just think it's really important that there are times of mourning, there are times of sadness, but even in the midst of that, how can there be joy? And I wasn't going to share this, but I feel like I'm supposed to, but when I was in Papua New Guinea for 2 months, when we were there, I was leading a team with another person, and we, halfway through, one of the men that lived in the village that we were staying at and stuff passed away, and they had like a whole funeral for him. And well, obviously he had a funeral, but so they had it like that afternoon, and then everybody took naps, and like literally took naps and got ready, and then around 9 they had different clans from the village come to the main like area of the village. And so everybody's sitting down, and all of a sudden, and our team was there, we're with Youth with a Mission, so we're our own team, and they start doing, telling us that they're going to point to different clans, and they have to sing a song. And that was kind of their tribute to this person. And at first they were like, more, what's the word that I used earlier? Just more like calm songs, kind of sad, just like, mourning. And so there was a time for that, so people were singing and people were crying, and just, it was really beautiful. And this took on from 9 to like almost 2-3 a.m. I can't remember. And by the end though, so we're singing these songs, we're all mourning, and then I think like halfway through, maybe a little less than that, one clan decided to do like a more upbeat song, and it ended up being like hundreds of people just dancing and just enjoying, it was really just the joy of the Lord. Like you could just feel it, and how much more, it was just a really cool moment to have. I know I'm going out a little late, but I felt like I'm supposed to share another story, so I share this one too. Because, well, back to that story, it was just beautiful to see people who were mourning him being able to still celebrate his life in such a beautiful culture and way. And yeah, it was just a lot of fun. And then the last story I'll share is, so kind of a different thing. Hi, Marty. Kind of different, but I was in Australia too, and I was with another team that was with Youth with a Mission, and we were doing, long story short, it was this thing called Red Frogs, and it's kind of equivalent where for spring break, but it's for seniors who just graduated, and it's a whole week where they just like party really hard, and they drink and do all sorts of things. And Red Frogs was this team of adults who just really had a passion for youth, and literally the whole time our job was just to love on those kids. Like if we can't like pray for them, like help them, like some people were like literally falling into bushes that we would like grab them out because they were so drunk, and then we were able to just really speak to them and minister to them. And so there's this triage tent. So people who really drink too much would be in this triage tent. And so I was there just helping out, and literally my job was there was a barf bag, and I would just help girls who were throwing up. That was my job. And so there was this one particular girl that was sitting next to me, and she was throwing up. She was really drunk, but then she would make fun of me because they knew if you were in Red Frogs, you're a Christian, and that was one of the requirements to be a part of it. And so she knew that I like was a Christian. And so she's like, well, what are you, some like part of a cult or something like that? But then she'd like throw up, and then she'd make fun of me more about my faith. And I was like, oh my gosh, she has some like nerve to like, I'm holding her bag to help her, and she's just throwing up, and she's like saying all these mean things. And I was like, maybe I should like tell her, like, like, not tell her off, but kind of be like, listen, like, my God does whatever. And I felt the Holy Spirit just tell me like, just don't say anything. Just be quiet, pretty much. And so I was like, okay. So I was just holding her hair, I was helping her, and I gave her some like coffee and bread and different things. And afterwards, we were just able to talk, and I can't explain it any better than really it felt like the joy of the Lord was there. Like, we were just dying laughing. Like, seriously, I was like making fun of like Australian accents. I was trying to do, I was butchering it, and she was crying laughing, I was crying laughing, and it was this like really beautiful moment where like people are pretty sick, they drink to it or different things, and we're just dying laughing, just and it really did like feel like the presence of the Lord was there. It really did. And afterwards, I had to go with my team somewhere else, and I had to leave that girl, and she literally cried when I left. Like, she did not want me to leave. She wanted me to like stay with her. And afterwards, it was such a whirlwind from her like making fun of me. And I remember thinking, I was like walking with my team, and I was just praying the whole time. I was like, Lord, like, what was that? Like, what was the point of all that? And I felt him just say, she didn't need somebody else defending the church. She needed someone to be the church to her. And that really, again, I'm tearing up, but I really felt like that was purpose there, was just to, I didn't need to defend and say you were wrong. I just needed to treat her like, just love on her and just laugh with her and just spend time with her and really not need anything from her, but to really just love her and just have fun. And I think that was my biggest just joy of the Lord moment in my life, was really, when we do these commandments, it's not just, it's so important because people really do need Jesus, and they really do need joy. Like, our world is just really hurting and just really sad and really dark, and the Lord, I just feel like it's really important to the Lord that we love people and show the joy of Him. And so I know this is probably later than it usually is, but I really did feel like this is what I needed to share tonight. And just to encourage you that if you just need, more joy, I would just encourage you to pray and see who you can love on this week, and really seek the Lord as well, and just love the Lord. And so I'm going to pray and end it out, but thank you for coming to Red Letter Talk with Rylee. But I'm just going to pray. Lord, I just want to thank you just for who you are, God, and how joy is really important to you. And I just really do feel that in my heart, that it's something that is a strength, Lord, that you have for us. And so I just pray for everyone throughout their day, God, that I just pray that they would really seek ways to really love you more and to love people around them more, more, God. And so I just pray for every individual and just people who just need to feel your love and your presence, that you do delight in them. And it says in Psalms, oh gosh, I'm gonna get it wrong, I think 16, 18, I might get that wrong, but it does say it in your word, Lord, that you delight in us. And so I just pray that people would know that you delight in them, that you love them, and I just pray all these things in your name. Amen. Thank you, Scott. Yes, so I will see you guys next week. Thank you for joining, and yeah. Hi, Kerma. We're just getting off, but hi. Okay, bye-bye.